Leading from a place of wellness. An interview with Simon T. Bailey. In this inspiring interview, we sit down with Simon T. Bailey, author of Ignite the Power of Women, to discuss the importance of leading from a place of wellness. Simon shares his personal experience of missing a crucial moment with his daughter due to emotional unavailability, which sparked a new journey towards prioritizing his own wellness. He answers important questions about leading from a place of wellness, including whether or not he has ever struggled with it himself. Simon has also provided listeners with 3 actionable steps that they can take immediately to cultivate a wellness driven life. Don't miss this insightful conversation about the power of prioritizing wellness in your leadership journey. Welcome to the Wellness Driven Life Show, and you're about to go on a wellness driven ride. Let me introduce our great guest today. Simon Bailey is a Hall of Fame keynote speaker and best-selling author with over 30 years of experience in the hospitality industry. His framework is designed to inspire leaders to lead differently, and he has worked with companies such as T-Mobile, General Mills, and Hilton Hotels. Simon delivers practical strategies and impacts real lives with a message that resonates beyond the stage. He has been featured on Goalcast with 90 million views, and his courses on LinkedIn Learning reach professionals in over 100 countries. Simon is also a certified Carditas coach. I hope I said that right, who leads with heart-centered intelligence. And Simon, you can tell me if I said that right. Please help me welcome Simon.
Oh my goodness. I am on the Wellness Driven Life Show. My stock just went up. It just went up.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on the Wellness Driven Life Show. Thank you for being here, Simon.
Thank you for having me. So good to be here.
So let's walk our audience into getting to know you a little bit more. I gave you some really good highlights, but there's more to it. Tell us what you're about.
I am flawed beyond belief. I am perfectly imperfect. I am just a human being just trying to figure it out one day at a time. That's my story.
And you're sticking to it.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, that's beautiful. And rightfully so. All of us, right? We're going on this journey together, trying to navigate life and all of its ups and downs. And you have done such an incredible job as a writer documenting so much of that process, so much of all of those ups and downs, what's worked, what hasn't worked, being really authentic and vulnerable and sharing so.
Well, I don't know how else to be. I think for so long I had a mask on. I had a
Mm.
need to be needed. Uh, Nobody really got to know the real me because you met my representative before you got to me, right? And I think I have just decided that enough is enough. Let's just like be real and put all the cards on the table.
Oh, and how is that working out for you?
You know what? I can actually say I feel alive and I feel free because what I've discovered when you find your spark, you find your joy. When you find your joy, you find your voice. When you find your voice, you find your freedom. And it is so liberating to live from the inside out.
Oh, that is really cool. I love how you said that. And so, gosh, let's jump right in. Do you have how did you start doing that? Let's go from the beginning, right? I know that you've talked a little bit about your daughter giving you this huge realization. Was that it, where you started understanding that you needed to live a little more authentically, or were there other points in history?
It was that moment when my daughter came into my home office and she said, "Hey, daddy." I said, "Hey, baby girl." And she sat down and I sensed she wanted to talk, but I was just totally emotionally disconnected, right? I was planning for a trip. I had stuff going on. And she said, "Daddy, I see you're busy. I'll just come back later." And I said, "Okay." And it hits me on the plane. Oh my goodness, my daughter wanted to talk to me. And I missed that moment. So when I came from back out of town, I said, "Madison, you wanted to talk to me the other day." And she said, "Daddy, it's okay." I said, "No, it's not okay. Because if I don't change my behavior, you are going to marry a joker just like me." And
Mhm.
I realized, April, that I was modeling something for her brother, how to be emotionally unavailable and disconnected. And her mother said to me,
Oh, you froze for a minute. All right. Well, I think Simon is frozen, so we're going to go into our first commercial. Stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. I am Kim Jacobs, the host of The Kim Jacobs Show, and you all know who's right here with me, Dr. Les Brown. How are you, Dr. Brown?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time you want to give yourself a competitive edge. If you got a message, you have some knowledge or experience, a story, or if you want to do something adventurous and exciting with your life that can increase your credibility, expose you to millions of people, I'm encouraging you to have your own talk show. I used to have a talk show. That one talk show catapulted me to another level. Now there are more people watching the internet, as you are aware, than television.
Yes.
Come on, somebody.
That's right.
Dr. Kim Jacobs, she trained people on how to have their own talk show. She will train you how to do that. And now, with me working, partnering with her, now you have the combination of an audience, expansive audience. We have over 4 million people in all of our platforms, and the coaching you need to grow your business, to grow your multi-level marketing organization, to draw more attention to yourself in this noisy economy. Go ahead, Kim.
So, in the training that I do, Les, I actually do a 6-week training. It's 1 hour per week. And each week, I meet with the individuals one on one. We go through and we talk about all of the things that's necessary for a show to become a reality. We go from how to actually identify your focus area, what's going to be your ideal customer that's going to be tuning in. We'll talk about how to get guests, how to get sponsorship, how to go about getting your lighting, your branding, and your banners, and everything that you need to know. And guess what, Les? They
What?
own their own content at the end of the day.
And that's exciting. Now, if you're ready to create a shift in your business and in your life and increase your cash flow, I want you to go to kimjacobsconsulting.com. It's right there on the screen, kimjacobsconsulting.com. You know, people say opportunity knocks on every door.
Right.
No, opportunity stands by silently waiting for you to recognize it. So I want you to recognize that this is a time for you. This is an incredible time to have your own talk show. It establishes a level of credibility.
Yes.
And by being exposed to people on a regular basis, it allows you to strategically begin to impact and attract your audience. She can take you in a place in yourself that you can't go by yourself. So go to kimjacobsconsulting.com. That's KimJacobsConsulting.com. Did I say KimJacobsConsulting.com? Yes, you did. Very good. Make sure you go there and sign up for the coaching, and we're looking forward to working with you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. That's my story, and that's Kim's story, and we're sticking to it. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
With key ingredients supported by over 80 clinical trials, the exclusive formulation of the Bella Grace Collagen Elixir is changing lives everywhere. Ingesting collagen peptides alone is not very helpful. This is where most collagen products fall short, and where Bella Grace changes everything. Unlike other collagen products, the Bella Grace Collagen Elixir controls the gene switches which activate collagen creation and disables the enzymes that break down the matrix. Bella Grace Collagen Elixir contains Verisol, the world's best and most clinically studied form of collagen. These elite collagen peptides influence the skin's collagen metabolism directly from the inside. Nature's most powerful antioxidant. 6,000 times more potent than vitamin C, Astaryl astaxanthin prevents the activation of gene switches that drive inflammation and activates the gene switch responsible for cellular repair and longevity, forming bridges across cell membranes, protecting them from free radical attack. Amazonian cat's claw suppresses the enzymes that degrade collagen and our skin matrix caused by oxidants and inflammation. It simply turns the switch off. The world's most studied collagen, plus activating the genes that make collagen, plus switching off the genes that break down collagen, has resulted in something the world has never experienced. The Bella Grace Collagen Elixir. Start your 30-day Bella Grace challenge today.
Can learn more about Bella Grace in the description below. And welcome back, Simon. So glad that you made it back okay. And we left off kind of where you were talking about how you felt with your daughter, and you realized on the plane that she was asking for you to be present with her and to spend a little time with her. And you had this awareness of, oh my gosh, I'm not living up to that. And what I wanted to say about that was when we have that self-realization, it's really this beautiful beginning of emotional intelligence and just rising above that to get to another level.
Yes, absolutely. And when I came back from my trip, I said to her, Madison, you wanted to talk to me. And she said, Daddy, it's okay. I said, no, it's not okay, because if I don't change my behavior, you're going to marry a joker just like me. And I was modeling something for her brother, how to be emotionally unavailable. And her mother said to me, you give everybody the best of you, but you give us the rest of you. And I don't want the leftovers anymore. And what I recognized after 25 years of being married, we went through a divorce because unfortunately I had built a house but lost a home. I was chasing money but had no meaning. And I was pursuing status but really had no satisfaction. So in going through the divorce, my divorce attorney suggested that I go to therapy. And nobody, certainly a guy, does not want to go and sit on a sofa and talk to a therapist named Anita that's been practicing for 40 years and has more degrees than a therapist. But there, I found myself. And Anita said something that really began the whole journey to me really wanting to be well again. And she said, whatever you don't deal with will eventually deal with you. And that was the start of the journey.
Oh, yeah. Whatever you don't deal with will eventually deal with you. I like that, how you said that. And thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing, being married for so long and then eventually going through a divorce. I mean, when we go through dramatic shifts like that in life, it forces us to understand ourselves better, to understand the situation. What is it that's going right? What's going wrong? And how can we improve? So, I know so many of us go through the hardest things, but if we're choosing to take it as a lesson and turn it into wisdom, we shoot up a lot higher. So I like your book. I'll highlight the book. See what ignite the power of women in your life. And I one of the sections in here, what I thought was really fun, and maybe you want to highlight a little bit, was you talked about going through counseling after the divorce. And it's Anita, correct?
Yes.
And how she told you or recommended to you strongly to not date for a year after the divorce, right? Because you're not in a good place. It's not a good idea. I strongly encourage you to not do that. And what did you do?
You know what? Listen, April, I was a hot mess. I wanted to be booed up again.
Yeah.
So I jumped on dating apps, uh, much to her disappointment. I went on many dates looking for love in all the wrong faces, searching for love in all the wrong places. And I was a broken man trying to become whole through a relationship. And the reality is that a half a man showing up in a relationship, meaning a half a woman, doesn't make a whole relationship. So, what I recognized is I needed to do my work. And unfortunately, there were some individuals that I hurt as a result of
Yeah.
my uh, brokenness. And I'm certainly not here to cry me a river, don't cry for me Argentina type of moment. But there was amazing women that I met, and what I recognized is that for me, if I was going to come to a better place, one of the things that Anita suggested that I do was go back and start with the first woman who ever loved me, which was my mom. And
Mm.
she said there's a lot of research out about fathers and daughters, but there's emerging research out about mothers and sons. And she said, you have been mama to death. And so
Wow.
yeah, I ended up calling my mom, and my mother said to me, this was after one of my therapy appointments, and my mom said, I've been wanting to talk to you for the last 35 years, and I've been waiting for this conversation. And it was a real healing moment for both of us, right? And we're in a much better place as a result of that conversation and ongoing conversations.
I think when we open up that conversation door to our family members, and when we're really coming to a place of love and empathy, it changes the trajectory on so many levels for them and you, and just having that honest talk, maybe many times, right? But just at least starting a conversation.
Yeah, and I think, someone listening to us right now, first of all, I would say if you are not seeing a licensed uh, counselor, I would certainly start there. That is always my recommendation. I am not a therapist. I'm not a licensed counselor, so I'm truly
Mhm.
just speaking from my story and my experience. But I would say number one, start there. I would also say number two, what do you want for you?
Mm.
Because what you want wants you. You would never have a
Mhm.
desire for something better unless you already had the capacity, the capability, and the competency to actually go after it. And sometimes that means not in the pursuit of just getting something, it's understanding how to be in the moment and put one foot in front of the other. And then, probably the third thing that I would add, April, to this conversation is what once you identify what you want, also discover and say, what am I willing to give up to become who I'm really meant to be?
Mm. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of power in that. What am I willing to give up? And I think if we talk about that on an energetic level, that when we release that's not serving us or that we no longer need, even though a lot of those things can be very difficult and challenging to let go of, but it
Yes.
opens up the energy to so many greater things that we never really thought possible.
Yes.
So I feel like there's going to be people on here that maybe need to hear this because my mind is going in the realm of divorce. There are many, many people who experience divorce and go through it. So because you have gone through that and so have I want to highlight that just a little bit more. And now you're in an incredible relationship. You've done a lot of falling down, tumbling over, and then getting back up. And so it's definitely a journey and it's not easy. When you were fresh out of divorce, you're like, my bed is cold. I need somebody, want somebody here. And so you want to jump into until you have this realization of, I need to do that work first. And I need to come clear on the things that I really want. And I'm just curious. A lot of people will write down, or, I would suggest to write down those things that you really want. What does your perfect partner look like? And who do you have to be to match that and to be with that perfect partner, right? I remember, if I can share, Manly and we both come from divorce, and he told me, he taught me a lot of patience, because he said, April, I want a crock pot relationship, not a microwave relationship.
Wow.
And he had me wait. He said, look, I'm doing work on myself. There's things I need to do. And I waited for him probably for about 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was worth the wait. You got booed up, married again, and here you are.
It was so worth the wait. And speaking of, he brought in a little tidbit here. He says, for me as a man, it's often pride, although I know men don't have the monopoly on pride.
Yes, yes, very well said. I know for me, Jody, who is my wife, what I recognized in her is there was just a kindness, and we're very kind to each other. We both have been divorced. So coming into a relationship, we're also a blended family. We have 4 children from 21 to 28. We have our first grandchild, Halo, who's 17 months old. So
Aw.
us, it was really coming in to not just what we want, but it was also for me releasing the need to be right. I tend to be a bit of a control freak. I like to control the narrative. I like to always just kind of know what's going on. And I'm that type A type of guy who is, if the flight at the airport is at 5:30 a.m., I'm probably at the airport at 4 a.m., right? I'm that guy, right? But what I recognized in coming into a new marriage, there were some things that I needed to lean into, and I needed to be open for what wanted to emerge in becoming the man that I am today. So I am a better man because of the woman who walks beside me, sometimes in front of me, pulling me forward. And it doesn't threaten my masculinity. It's also understanding that a man doesn't become a full man until he understands the womb man with a womb, who has the ability to birth and pull out of him the genius and the brilliance that's in him. But for me, a man cannot know himself by himself. So, here I am, kind of like in my bubble. And when it was time for me to emerge from the cocoon of limitation, I connected with a woman who understood that I really was a butterfly, but I had to go through the process of metamorphosis in order to grow into a whole relationship.
Oh, that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And truth telling, right? So I haven't dug entirely into your book. However, now I want to see the opposite side, the female version of how the male, because really the masculine and the feminine, we are designed to yin yang. I was going to say ignite, definitely on the Simon T. Bailey ignite aspect. But we complement each other so well, and we have different things to offer, and it's just a beautiful thing. So I love how you described that. Can you tell me a few things that you do to kind of allow that magic to take hold?
I think for me, first of all, learning how to love myself. You cannot give what you don't have.
Mm,
And it's difficult to become who you haven't been. So for me, learning to love myself. I think the other thing in practicing well-being and wellness, I learned something in a course that I took in positive psychology. And specifically, Dr. Martin Seligman, who's the father of positive psychology, says at the end of the day, write down what went well. And when he said it, it was like a joy bomb that just went off in my head. What went well? Because so many times we focus on what went wrong. And I think for everyone listening to us, what would it be like to implement that micro practice into your daily life? What went well today?
I agree that I agree with you. When I first had that realization, maybe said that way, maybe said differently, but to really reflect on the being grateful for what it was throughout the day and seeing the evidence of what you're creating, it and especially when you do it in the evening time before you go to sleep, and your body and your mind and your soul are processing everything, it's just a boost in that powerhouse of positivity.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also, I think, making a decision every single day that before you do, you're going to focus on how to be a better human being, not just a human doing. So being that human being is who do I get to be today? Who do I get to be in this moment? Who do I get to be in this hour? And you exude that every single day. So whenever people step into your quantum field, they pick up on the energy and the vibration of your beingness where you're there in that moment with them.
Yes. I like to think of it as like you said, who do you want to be? But like physically stepping into who you want to be.
Yeah,
So I love that you say that, and the energy definitely does rise when you do that, because I think innately we all want to be greater than, and we always want to strive for being someone better than we are right now.
absolutely. And when we do, the world is a better place.
It is. So tell me some of the things that you made shifts on to have a better relationship with your daughter, because I think initially that was the first, young lady in your life that you wanted to change this trajectory with.
Yeah. So one of the things that I implemented, I took a course in caring science from Dr. Jean Watson, who's a scholar at the University of Colorado at Boulder. And one of the things that she teaches in caring science are the four practices. And the four practices is to forgive, to surrender, human compassionate care, and understanding the power of gratitude. So, specifically with Madison, my daughter, I had to experience that second practice of surrender. As a helicopter dad who sometimes would swoop in to fix something, I needed to let go of wanting to have Madison live life the way I thought she needed to live it, as her father. And I had to surrender that everything was going to be okay. So, point in case, Madison is in college and she bought tickets with her college roommate to go to the Harry Styles concert, right? So, Harry Styles is coming to town and it's a big deal. And she paid $200 for the tickets. And I just happened to be talking to a buddy of mine. He said his daughter wanted to go, and the tickets were like $1,000. So, I call Madison. I'm like, okay, who are you going with? Who's driving? Because, college students, they can be up to shenanigans, like
Yeah.
we were all in college at one time. And so I was just totally controlling the everything, what's going on. And, I'm tracking her. And when I realized she didn't call me that night after the concert, so I barely slept a wink. So the next
Mhm.
day, I sent her a text, "Hey, Maddie, just kind of checking in." What I was really saying, "Are you okay? What time did you get in?" Da 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 da. Well, she
Yeah.
ended up calling me. Dad had a wonderful time. Sent me videos of just the experience, and she was okay. So what I had to learn how to surrender, that I'd raised a daughter to be a good human being and everything was going to work out.
Yeah. Simon, that's some of the most difficult things to do as a parent, isn't it? When we finally have to start letting go. And yeah, that surrender piece, it absolutely was the most difficult thing for me to do out of that three part. So, um, but there's so much beauty that happens when you do that, isn't there? And when we start understanding that they're their own person and they're on their own journey and that they are going to fail because that's life and you cannot escape failure and the lessons learned and the wisdom gained from that is how we grow spiritually, emotionally, mentally, all of that. And so you have to let go. I fully relate with you on this. I definitely was that, probably that. I don't like to say helicopter mom, but I like to say I think I was am was I've grown a lot more, but that militaristic parent where
Sure.
I want my kids to, know all of the things and show up in the best way to be the best person, that the world to in order to serve and do the greatest good, et cetera, et cetera. And, it's more energy put out to that is probably not the greatest. I think that sometimes we can get into a place where it's not serving anyone and it's like butting heads,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, yes. The other interesting thing with Madison, I'm also learning to listen and let her finish her entire thought, understand her thinking, releasing the need to interject. To your point, here's what I would do. She didn't ask my opinion. She just asked me. She didn't ask me to fix anything.
Just listen, dad, just listen. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I'm also, I think probably the third thing is learning how to overcome divorce dad guilt. So,
Mm.
I
Oh,
wasn't there, so I got to make up, and sometimes you're writing a check and, sending money via Cash App, just because the guilt is still there for what happened. And I think it's just reaching a place to say, okay, something happened and we're not going to try to fill in the blank and try to make something up, but we're going to be in the moment and allow each other to grow and to heal
yeah.
one conversation at a time.
Right. Start saying, okay, and what's next?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
How do we move forward in the best way for each other? Ah, that's so, so powerful. Well, my my husband has said that women are like the thermometer in a relationship. And so if you ever want to know if the relationship how it's going, you just go to the woman thermometer. What is your take on that?
I totally agree because Ah, so I was watching an interview of an individual, and this person was being interviewed, and behind that person was the wife. And so the guy is just talking blah 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 blah, and the wife's head is crooked to the side. I was like, something is off. She is looking at him like, really, really, is that the best you've got? Right? So I knew, I knew. I was like, okay, he's want, whatever. She's telling the truth. Just read it on her face, and she didn't have to use any words. Her face said everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's just it, right? If we just kind of pay attention to people's body language.
Totally, totally. Yeah. That's why I think the world right now, and I'm going to say something that sounds very controversial, but just hear it in the spirit I'm about to say it. We need the yin energy. We need the female energy on the planet right now because if we had more of it, we would solve a lot of problems. We would solve wars. We would solve the food insecurity. We would deal with so many people who are part of the last lost and least and forgotten. Women would so get things done. They would figure it out. And men, sometimes because of our energy, we always want to control and be right. And I just say that broadly. I'm not saying all men, I'm saying some men. And so that's why every community, every society, how do we ensure that we're doing right by women? And I'm not just saying this to blow smoke and or anything about women. The research bears it out. The research bears it out that when women are in charge, countries, communities, and companies do better. And when I had that epiphany, I'm like, what? Oh my goodness. So I looked at my personal journey and I looked at my professional journey, and there was a lot of collateral damage where I didn't get it. I didn't get it professionally. I didn't get it personally. And when I had the epiphany, I was like, oh snap, there it is. We have to ensure that we are doing right by women because they're going to make sure everybody benefits.
It's interesting that you say that because I don't know if it was a segment that I heard from you or somebody else, but you're not the first person who has said that, I don't believe. And there are some prominent male leaders historically that have said behind every good man is a very strong woman. And when that relationship is really in tuned, that incredible things happen. Now, it is a touchy subject, right? Because in my female brain, I'm like, I don't want to sway to the extremist level. Like, I don't want to be claimed as a feminist or this or that because that's not really me. I believe more in a balance.
Mhm.
And I think that there's so many healthy aspects of both parties. And it's very interesting that again that you say that because part of me is like, well, I have to go to Manly and be like, hey, I feel this way and I'm super emotional over it and this is how I want to respond. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey there. Let's think about this.
Yes.
Calm down, And so he oftentimes can be that sounding board for me and truly is my greatest teacher in patience. But I've done similar things for him. And so it's an exchange of energy where, we're really able to come to some stronger conclusions on how to show up.
Absolutely. I think the dynamic that Jody and I have, and I know this and I tell her this all the time, I know that she is an alpha female. I know it. And she knows that I'm an alpha male. But it's also understanding when it's time to be alpha, when it's time to be beta, and
Yeah.
not be threatened by that or go in the corner and pout or curl up in a ball. No, it's understanding it's okay if she takes the lead, and it's okay if I take the lead. We don't lose anything, but together we become better. And I'm not trying to say that to sound like a cliche, but it's recognizing the brilliance in each other
Yeah.
and, and being comfortable enough to honor what each person carries.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have this incredible partnership. What are some of the things that you two do to really ignite the power of your relationship to keep the spark going all the time?
One of the things that Jody and I do every single day and have done it since we were dating and have gotten married is we pray together every single day. Uh, we believe the couple that prays together stays together. Uh,
Mm.
so we pray for ourselves, we pray for our children, we pray for both of our moms who, thank goodness, are both alive. We pray for our extended family, and we pray for our friends. And starting that day with just a moment of kindness and praying together. And then we kiss each other as we start the day. Because it's just those little moments. Something could happen to me today. Something could happen to her today. Did I at least have that moment to be tender towards her?
Mm.
The second thing that we do is we check in with each other throughout the day. So we'll text or call, hey, just thinking about you. I love you, a little heart emoji. Just saying you, I call her Boops. So she's my Boops. She calls me babe. And we'll just, it's that tenderness in our communication. So when we do have the intense conversation, as we will, Jody is Italian. And so we will sometimes have those moments of opportunity. At least the emotional bank account, thank you, Dr. Stephen Covey, is already filled with good things. So
Yeah.
we can withdraw interest from that account of moments of kindness. And I just cannot iterate kindness enough. And then probably the third thing that we do is we will do spontaneous things. We'll go out of town, we'll go to dinner, and I'll say, hey, let's go do this. And we're big beach people. I am always working on my tan. That's a bad joke. It was right there.
Make me jellyfish. Come on.
But we're big beach people, and it's those spontaneous things that is so powerful. So
Yeah.
by the time we look for our intimate moments, we have built equity in the relationship because moments create momentum, and momentum creates monumental results. So I just don't love Jody. I cherish her, and she
Aw.
cherishes me as a man. And because I know I'm cherished, I know that I'm seen, I'm valued, and I'm celebrated by her. Makes all the difference in the world.
It does. And I love your choice of wording. And it's interesting that you bring up, Stephen Covey's book, because The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People was a book that Manly and I shared early on in our relationship. I told you that he wanted to work on himself. And so I wanted to work on myself. And because I wanted to show up as the woman, in my best self for him when he was ready. And I asked him during that time, I said, well, what are some of your favorite books? What are you reading? So I could learn more about him. What are your favorite things? And he said The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So that kind of was this interesting point where we were able to be in alignment with each other
Mhm.
and separate at the same time, but going on that journey together. And so he said, yes, invest in the emotional bank account. So love that stuff. Also, one thing that I thought was really, really wonderful with the third thing that you mentioned that you guys do is that spontaneity
Yes.
aspect.
Yes.
And I like to ask my guests, what's a fun thing or a hobby or a bucket list, something unique? And your answer was, my bucket list dream is to take a tour around the world and on the 4-season private jet experience.
Yes, yes, yes. So the Four Seasons Hotel and Resorts, they have a private plane where you can book it all over the world and go and obviously stay in their hotels. And to do that for 3 weeks would just be the ultimate gift. So
Yeah.
I see it in the future.
No, I think that's so cool. I'm sure you've heard of the book The Secret.
Yes.
So they have an app that you can do. Trying to think. It's a secret money app.
Okay.
So you're gifted a check from the universe every day as long as you spend the entirety of the amount. So you're dreaming, right? And so you start getting bigger and bigger checks. And it's really cool because you have to start opening your mind up to more possibilities and the what ifs and
Yes.
start dreaming really, really big. So I point that out that you said that here because that's dreaming really big. And I just love that because I think that when we start expanding our mind
Mhm.
and it just keeps going bigger and bigger and bigger. And so like you, I thought about the private jet experience, right? So I start looking it up and I'm like, what would that look like? What would that cost? And so you start putting that into factor and you're like, okay, I have that. The universe gave that to me. So I'm going to spend it on this. And so now I've experienced a private jet tour. And I love that you said that. So that's very cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Love it.
Well, I have given the audience here on the screen where to find some of your information. And your website is www.ignitethepowerofwomen.com. That's IGNITE, not NIGHT, right? As we typed in before, made me blush. So it's IGNITE ThePowerofWomen.com. That is also going to be in the description below, along with other links and Simon's social media links. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience today?
I would just simply say, no matter where you are, remember that encouragement is oxygen for the soul. So, who is just one person in the spirit of wellness that you can encourage, and how do you find a way to hug them with your words? Because when you hug them with your words, you literally are breathing life into them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Bringing a couple more comments. This LinkedIn user says, wow, thank you so much. A great show. And true. Yes. So good stuff today, Simon. Thank you so much for sharing your brilliance with the audience. I can't wait for people to check you out and learn more about you and look at the books and wisdom. You've written 11 books. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's absolutely fabulous. So there's so much, people, that you can get from this brilliant man, this brilliant mind who really wants to see the brilliance of you shine out. So goodbye for now, and we will see you next week.